Tonight, the MAX 8 is grounded.
Yeah, glad we made it, absolutely.
After 2 crashes in 5 months, Canada and the U.S. banned the Boeing from their skies. What changed their minds?
I have never been so disgusted.
The political fight over the former Attorney General erupts, while the opposition is claiming it's a cover-up.
It just makes us think the future is beautiful and it's clean and it's all possible.
Smart cities promise to curb pollution, create jobs. Can cities of the future deliver? This is The National. 3 days after that devastating, deadly crash in Ethiopia, the impact keeps getting bigger. Airline by airline, country by country, the 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 were grounded in the name of caution and safety. The U.S. and Canada were notable exceptions until today.
I am issuing a safety notice.
First Ottawa, then Washington joined the chorus of concern.
All of those planes are grounded, effective immediately, okay?
And what was once the engine of Boeing's civil aviation business, now sitting idle pretty much everywhere. We'll break down how that came to be and what it means for Boeing and how little it changes for those gathering to grieve at the scene of the crash that killed 157 people. But first, this is a picture of the 737 MAX 8s in the sky a few days ago. Hundreds of flights every day in every corner of the world. This is the picture now. Those planes carried tens of thousands of passengers a day. Grounding them has forced airlines to shuffle fleets, flights, and bookings. Katie Simpson begins our coverage with the decision and what happened next.
So relieved to be on the ground, travelers on the last Boeing 737 MAX flights had an unsettling start to the day.
I knew right from the outset that we were on that plane, so the first 11 minutes were a bit anxiety-ridden.
As it turned out, the first 11 minutes were just turbulence, but my goodness sakes, it gives you a start, you know.
Some flights were canceled or delayed, but the impact at Canadian airports was isolated.
I fly so much, I wasn't worried. I didn't ever expect Air Canada would let us fly if it wasn't safe, so.
Canada's transport minister says he made the decision to ground the planes after receiving new verified satellite data. It showed similarities between the Lion Air crash last October and the Ethiopian crash on Sunday. In the first deadly incident, the pilot struggled with the plane's software system that erroneously detected the plane's nose was too high and automatically tried to force it down.
So the result there is that the airplane tends to oscillate in this conflict between the software and the pilot. And that's what had some similarities on the Ethiopian flight.
It's a change in position for Ottawa after the government initially said it didn't have enough evidence to ground the planes. That changed with the new information discovered this morning.
Based on that data, comparing the two incidents, our flight safety engineers looked at it and they felt that there was a troubling parallel between the two incidents.
Hours after Canada announced its decision, the Americans followed suit.
We were coordinating with Canada. We were giving them information. They were giving us information. We very much worked in conjunction with Canada.
Donald Trump's announcement happened so quickly, this MAX 8 in Washington, D.C., bound for Orlando, Florida, had to return to the gate.
We were on our way to Disney World, and we were on the runway, and then the pilot informed us that our plane was being grounded by an order from the president.
No one has any idea how long it will be before these planes can return to the sky. So on the tarmac, they will sit for now.
The timing of all of this is less than ideal. Many Canadians are away or planning to go away for March break. They'll now have to work with their airlines to make alternate arrangements. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
And those airlines in Canada quickly announced they were complying with Ottawa's decision. So what can passengers expect? Air Canada and WestJet are asking customers traveling soon to contact them. If they're affected, they can rebook flights at no additional charge, but that may take a while. Both airlines emphasize that the vast majority of their fleets was still flying, but WestJet acknowledged grounding its MAX 8s has so far affected 1,000 passengers. Air Canada has the second largest MAX 8 fleet in the world, and it says grounding them could affect anywhere from 9,000 to 12,000 passengers.
The thing they're arguing probably is it's not their fault. It's the government's fault for grounding the planes.
Both airlines said the situation is, quote, fluid, and asked for patience. In its own statement today, Boeing backed the decision, saying, in fact, that out of an abundance of caution and to reassure the public, it recommended grounding the entire global 737 MAX fleet. But Boeing still stands behind the jet, which it created to keep up with competitors. David Comet explains why the design is now coming under scrutiny.
When it launched, the 737 MAX was Boeing's answer to stiff competition, a fuel-efficient workhorse to rival Airbus, which had been eating Boeing's market share. And there were significant design changes from previous incarnations of the 737. Bigger engines shifted forward. On takeoff, that could mean the nose tips upwards.
Now we're in aerodynamic stall. Banking.
And that could risk a stall, one that could lead to a crash. Many pilots practice for such an event.
There you go, nice recovery, John.
To compensate, Boeing added software called MCAS. If instruments detected the nose getting too high, it would automatically prompt the stabilizer on the tail to pitch the aircraft down.
Their problem was they forgot to tell the pilots about it.
Without understanding, pilots could inadvertently fight with the MCAS. If it malfunctions, they may not understand why or even spot and solve the problem.
Rather than something being critically wrong with the airplane, I think that the training and the qualification of some of these people that are on it are inadequate.
American regulators did not require Boeing to directly inform pilots that the MCAS software existed or order new training to be familiar with it. For some in aviation, that's the problem.
These type of anomalies are like little gremlins. You can be flying for several 100,000 hours before it rears its ugly head.
So why not just do the training? Well, taking pilots out of planes and into simulators costs money and time, an expense in a highly competitive razor margin industry. After the Lion Air crash in Indonesia, Boeing did issue a bulletin to pilots about the existence of MCAS and how to deal with it. But it didn't order training. Of course, it's not known if the MCAS played a role in this latest crash, though Boeing is now upgrading the software. The FAA anticipates that be done by next month. Boeing says this will make an already safe aircraft even safer. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
So the MAX jets are key to Boeing's future. There are billions of dollars worth still on order. They're made in part by workers at a plant in Washington state. That's where Briar Stewart went today to see how this is hitting them.
It's the afternoon shift change at the Boeing factory. 12,000 people work here, the home of the 737 MAX jet. An employee told CBC that the groundings are the talk on the factory floor and in the community too.
If Boeing wasn't here, our business wouldn't be here. And so, yeah, it's nerve-wracking a little bit to know what might come of all this.
Greg Heller's parents run a business that has contracts with Boeing, but there's another reason he's paying close attention.
As a flight attendant, I'm glad I'm not flying that particular aircraft for my company.
But this plane drives all of the work here. Crews assemble them, putting the final touches on jets destined for airlines around the world, including Canada.
Of the 5,800 orders Boeing currently has for planes, 80% of them are for the 737 MAX. It's the fastest selling aircraft in Boeing's history, which is why there's a lot at stake for the company. What do you think it's like in that factory and in the offices right now?
Devastating. I think everybody's questioning, what did they miss? What could they have done better? It's a tragic outcome to see your product take lives.
Peter Lemmy worked as a Boeing engineer and manager. He still believes the 737 MAX is safe, but says it's disappointing the company didn't update its software earlier.
We knew what had happened to Lion Air. We knew that MCAS had some design deficiencies. Boeing did not take that information and go out in the fleet and fix all those airplanes with a sense of urgency.
This journalist covers the aviation industry and says the groundings are going to be painful for the company.
And you declare an airplane to be the fastest, best selling in the world, when it has some problems, you're going to get a lot more scrutiny.
Still, he believes the long-term outlook is good, considering that Boeing makes around 50 planes a month here, which means it will take the company 7 years to fulfill all the orders it currently has. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Renton, Washington.
Boeing may be facing questions about its future, but in Ethiopia today, the families of the victims of Sunday's crash are face to face with the agonizing present. On the ground there, Susan Ormison brings us to the crash site where the mood has shifted.
This crash site is slowly changing from an active investigation into more of a memorial. These roses appeared today as more families are coming here to the site, including Canadians. A senior Canadian government official told us today that 5 groups of Canadians have already arrived in the Ethiopian capital since Sunday. Some of them are related to the 18 Canadians who died on that plane, and others are relatives of passengers from other countries who also perished. They're coming here to see where it all ended, but they're also looking for something else. They want to return home with something of their family members to bury, and that is proving very difficult. The official told us that identification is in a very early stage and it's complicated. The force of this crash here plunged the nose of the aircraft deep into the ground with catastrophic results on the plane and on the passengers, tragically. So consular officials are helping prepare families that they may have to return home with nothing but this tragic memory. We're also hearing that the black boxes from this site, which were retrieved days ago, will be sent outside Ethiopia because while Ethiopian Airlines was Africa's largest and most successful carrier, it's not equipped for that technical task. So while the debate rages on in other places about whether same model Boeing aircraft should be flying, families here are facing the piercing realization that it all ended right here. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, near Igiri, Ethiopia.
And Adrian, as we've noted this week, passengers from 35 different countries were on that plane.
Right, one more reminder of the global connections, and we're looking at other types of parallels tonight in stories of political drama in 2 global capitals. In London, British lawmakers are playing a dangerous game of chicken with the looming Brexit deadline, and in Ottawa, uproar from the opposition over the SNC-Lavalin affair. See, the opposition were furious that the Liberals cut short an emergency meeting of the Justice Committee, and as David Cochrane tells us, ending the meeting let the Liberals evade opposition attempts to summon Jody Wilson-Raybould, at least for now.
The opposition pushed for this emergency meeting to press for more testimony from Jody Wilson-Raybould.
We've heard the first part of the truth, but the rest of the truth remains a secret.
Canadians want the other half of the story from her.
This meeting was scheduled for 2 hours. But rather than sit there and take it from the opposition, the Liberals tabled a motion to adjourn.
So in that spirit, I propose that the committee do now adjourn.
A procedural torpedo to shut down the meeting. Over opposition objections, it went to an immediate vote.
Madame Lapointe? Mr. McKinnon?
What a shame.
What a shame. Cover up!
Cover up!
No, it's a cover-up. I'm voting against.
Mr. Cooper?
I'm voting against this cover-up.
Mr. Poliver?
Against the cover-up.
And Ms. Ramsey?
I'm strongly voting opposed, and I'm shocked at the behavior of my colleagues.
It's disgusting.
So that being said,
you should be ashamed of your...
That being said, the motion is adopted. Meeting is adjourned.
So just 26 minutes in, the meeting was over. The Liberal majority shut it down and fueled opposition outrage.
And I have never been so disgusted
by the conduct of my Liberal colleagues.
What does this say to Canadians? That they have something to hide. If they didn't have something to hide, we would have had the debate, we would have had the conversation today.
The Liberal move doesn't end this debate, it simply pushes it to another meeting previously scheduled for next week.
The committee has already expressed its wishes on March 6th to have this particular hearing on March 19th, so it's as simple as that.
We will revisit this issue on Tuesday.
But Tuesday will likely happen behind closed doors. No cameras, no transcripts, and it will all happen on the same day as the federal budget. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
And the wild political ride isn't over yet in London either. British MPs had another important Brexit vote to consider. And as the CBC's Thomas Daigle tells us, the name of the game today, deal or no deal.
Who's to say what's next for Britain when the headlines are this harsh and the outlook is just as brutal? The whole world is watching this Brexit show, every misstep and tussle. And Theresa May's former spokesman partly blames his old boss.
When it came to the crunch, they weren't ready for it. They weren't ready to give ground and come to an accommodation. And that's why we've got so stuck. We're just making a spectacle of ourselves. It's embarrassing.
Parliament is stuck, with MPs saying again and again what they don't want, but never what they would support. And this vote doesn't help.
Order! Parliament focused today on whether Britain should leave the EU without a divorce deal.
But this House has to decide. It has to decide what it wants.
The Prime Minister still trying to appear in control,
Mr. Speaker,
with hardly a leg to stand on and barely a voice to speak with.
I may not have my own voice, but I do understand the voice of the country. And that is people want to leave the EU.
And most MPs want to avoid crashing out with no deal, sending a clear message to the government with their votes.
The ayes to the right, 321. The noes to the left, 278.
The result doesn't force the government to reach a new deal, but it is another stinging rebuke to the Prime Minister.
The deal on the table is indeed the only deal available.
And it further muddles an already complicated breakup.
Whatever happens, deal or no deal, we need to respect the result of the referendum and leave the European Union.
That exit date, known for 2 years, is now in question, with MPs voting tomorrow on requesting a Brexit delay. So much for planning ahead. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, London.
So about that parliamentary vote tomorrow. MPs will decide whether Britain asks the EU to extend the negotiating period, pushing the official leave date to June 30th. Now, if that happens, all 27 EU countries would have to approve an extension. Not to mention they want it wrapped up a lot sooner, before the EU elections, May 24th. But stay with us here. If British MPs vote against an extension, then the March 29th deadline stands. They can either approve the deal they've already rejected or leave with no deal, what's called the dreaded hard Brexit.
Here are some of the other stories we're following tonight, starting with a frantic search for survivors following the collapse of a Nigerian school. It is early Thursday morning in Lagos, and rescuers continue their search as dozens of school children are still feared trapped inside the collapsed three-story building. 8 people are confirmed dead, nearly 40 have been rescued so far. Beto O'Rourke is adding his name to the growing list of U.S. presidential hopefuls. The former Texas congressman gained a national following with his long-shot election battle against U.S. Senator Ted Cruz last year. Today, he told a Texas TV station that he will seek the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. A formal announcement expected tomorrow. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp appear to be partially down for some people around the world. While you can still open the apps, users are reporting issues with sending messages, making posts, and getting access to other features on the platforms. Facebook calls the problem a partial outage and says it's working to resolve the issue as soon as possible.
Still ahead on the National, they promise a smart, green future. We look at the cities of the future in tonight's Dispatch.
And later, celebrities are posting about their mental health on social media. So is it helping the cause?
But first, after a CBC investigation, Ottawa takes action to address abuse in sport.
It feels like the beginning of a watershed moment. So talk to me in a couple of months and we'll see how it unfolds, and then talk to me in a year and we'll find out whether we've made the right moves.
They don't need to endure inappropriate behavior.
As a gym parent, I didn't know who to tell this to.
Sport bodies have really struggled to self-police over all the years, and to have an independent third party where you can put your complaints is absolutely critical.
Last month, CBC News and CBC Sports revealed an exclusive investigation of sexual abuse in amateur sport. For the first time, we tallied the 220 coaches convicted over the past 20 years and the hundreds of young people they victimized. We heard from concerned parents and athletes, and those voices have made a difference. Today, Canada's Minister of Sport announced measures to keep kids safe. The CBC's Devin Haru brought us some of those stories, and he has the government's reaction.
I suffered for 20 years in silence because programs like this did not exist. And I would have given back every single medal I ever won to have not had that experience.
Former Olympic alpine skier Alison Forsyth was a victim of sexual abuse herself. That's why the sport minister's announcement today was so personal.
Today we are announcing two important measures to make our sports system safer for all athletes.
An independent investigative unit for sports centres across Canada regarding any concerns of abuse, and a national toll-free confidential helpline for victims and witnesses of abuse in sport.
I've been saying that we need an independent place to go. Athletes, bystanders, coaches, whomever it is, need somewhere to be able to report these situations where they will not only be investigated ethically, legally, and morally, but they'll also be taken seriously.
It's a need that CBC's investigation revealed last month, with experts, athletes, and parents alike desperate for transparency and support without fear of retribution.
Abuse is not necessarily always a criminal thing. So, and I would tell you as an athlete or as anyone that's not a lawyer or a police officer, you may not know what is legal and not legal.
Former Olympic rower and University of Winnipeg sociology professor Sandra Kirby says today's announcement feels like the beginning of a watershed moment for safe sport in Canada.
Talk to me in a couple of months and we'll see how it unfolds, and then talk to me in a year and we'll find out whether we've made the right moves.
For the people who need it most.
I want to speak to the victims, the people right now that are out there being victimized in sport. This is here for you.
The helpline is now available to anyone 7 days a week, 12 hours a day in both English and French, answered by psychologists, psychotherapists, and counselors. Devin Haru, CBC News, Toronto.
Still ahead on the national, Justin Bieber isn't the first to do so. How celebrities are helping remove the stigma around mental health thanks to social media.
And up next, these new cities are designed for the future, but at what trade-off?
Who are going to stay in a city with such expensive bungalows? I've checked it myself. Obviously, I cannot afford it. And a lot of locals cannot afford it.
See those dots all over the world? Well, they represent brand new cities springing from the dirt, purpose-built places designed to house, in some cases, up to 10 million people. These are new master plan cities with customized economies that promise a smart, green future. Basically, what you're looking at is a development model for the global south. To call them ambitious is understating it. They are intended to create jobs, curb pollution, and cultivate a healthy middle class. So that's their sell, but what's their story? Canadian professor Sarah Moser travels the world trying to figure that out. Tonight, we follow Moser for a look at the real face of this future. Here's the dispatch from Malaysia.
Over 40 countries have new master plan cities underway, and some countries have multiple projects. So Malaysia is one of them. It has at least 5 new city projects on the go. Just up there.
Few see the world like Sarah Moser, one of the planet's most prominent researchers into a phenomenon that's taking over how we live.
So new cities are seen as a way to transition economies from resource-based economies into a digital era. And oftentimes real estate is a key part of this project. It's an extremely lucrative business around the world right now. This is big money.
And this is Forest City, one of the world's boldest new city projects, a gated city planned for 700,000 people on land that simply didn't exist a few years ago. 4 artificial islands right next to Singapore, Southeast Asia's strongest economy. Pull back and you'll see it's even bigger. One project that's part of something called Iskandar Malaysia, a government strategy to attract foreign investment and tap into the benefits of being so close to Singapore. It's a big bet, meant to benefit all. But will it?
So we're living through an extraordinary period of development in this region. Everything you see has been touched by development.
The bulk of the funding for Forest City, eventually an estimated $100 billion, comes from the largest real estate developer in China.
All of these towers are basically investment vehicles, I would say, for foreign investors, particularly for Chinese investors. They're trying to attract some residents by saying this is a clean and green and safe environment where all of our urban problems have been addressed. It just makes us think the future is beautiful and it's clean and it's all possible.
That is, of course, the official pitch.
This is the part of Forest City that's already completed in Island 1. You must have schools, you must have offices, of course residential quarters, commercial experience in order for the residents and visitors and tourists to basically live, learn and work and play.
The developer's best estimate is it will be another 20 or 30 years before the master plan is a real metropolis. For now, the hard sell is a utopian future.
Come this way, let me show you all the vertical greening as well as the multi-layered transportation mobility network. That right at the top level here, it has to be pedestrian friendly, light transit, cycles, that's about it. The transportation mobility network should be underground, where the top will be free from congestion and pollution. So at the top of the buildings, it's all engulfed and wrapped in what we call the Lee Kuan Yew plan, vertical greening.
It's a little jungle path.
Moser's research means spending time absorbing what the places actually feel like, how they look and sound, how they function, where they fall short. Think of it as constantly checking the reality against the publicity. She's done this in new cities in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia. This is her 3rd trip to Forest City.
All of this is what you see when you are an investor tourist coming to Forest City to see if this is somewhere you want to buy a property. So this is showtime. This is Forest City putting their best foot forward. How are you?
Yeah, fine.
So you buying something at Forest City?
Yeah, we already bought.
Did you?
Yes. 3 years ago, this is the phase 1 that we purchased. Yeah.
Is it finished?
Yeah, finished is completed. Yeah.
And so do you live there?
I'm not live here. Yeah. Because I believe the price here in the future will be very good. Yeah.
So you'll sell at some point?
Yes.
The expansion of real estate as an asset class is something we're seeing in the last decade or two globally. And it's really driving a lot of these new cities that tend to be focused on the creation of real estate. And the difference between creating real estate for people and real estate for investments is really an important distinction. So it's not necessarily creating family housing that's so badly needed. It's creating maybe one-bedroom condos that make for a very nice currency in real estate transactions.
Who are going to stay in a city with such expensive bungalows? I've checked it myself. Obviously, I cannot afford it. And a lot of local cannot afford it.
And that from not just any local. Wong Shu-chi is an MP in Malaysia's new government. She's been a long-time critic of Forest City, just does not buy that the trade-offs are worth it.
When I visit the Forest City, the first big line come into me is the smart and green city, most environmental city, going to be built for human beings, for the future. And I was thinking that the developer is destroying the natural environment for a greener future. How ironic it is.
Land reclamation is by no means a new phenomenon in Asia, and it's key to much of Malaysia's coastal development. But it's the scale of what's happening now that's unprecedented, and there are consequences.
The cost, of course, is our mangrove. It's just next to this reclamation site. The mangrove is the natural protection on shore for our land. And since we are losing a lot of them, the cost is going to be big for the next generation.
There used to be an amazing prawn industry. He said just from this area, just this immediate area, you could get 300 kilos of prawns per day. That's phenomenal. And because of all the construction and development that's happened, there are no more prawns in this area. He says we can go a bit further, but then it gets shallow and we'll get trapped. All the sand movement from Iskandar Putri and Putri Harbor, all these mega developments nearby, stirred up too much sand for the mussels and the clams and the shrimp. Everywhere you look, there is sand. So there's sand being poured onto beaches, there's sand being poured into the water to make more land, and then all the concrete around you uses sand. It's a very hot commodity for all development, and given the pace of development globally, this is a really significant issue, where the sand is coming from and who are the communities that are being devastated.
The Seletar people don't need much convincing of that. Their traditional welcome offered to Moser and these strangers from afar before detailing just what all this development means to them. Since 2012, they've been fighting to have their rights to this land recognized, to not have to move, to make way for Iskandar Malaysia's development plans.
Money generally is important to people, but to them, it is the land that they require, the land and the waterways, because these are people who live by these waterways, and they also want to make sure the heritage goes on.
That gets harder as development encroaches on daily life.
Standby chair, can you see? 24 hours throughout the night, they are moving up and down.
Every day?
Every day, every day.
Every day?
Yeah. This was the area where they've been fishing and earning their livelihood. With the reclamation work and the mountains of sand which has been put all by the villagers, it has drastically affected the waterways. The income levels have reduced very drastically over the years.
The Seletar argue they should be able to stay, want to try to live alongside the developments and still, somehow, secure a future for their traditions. As always, how that will actually work is still murky. Fact is that much remains a mystery about how these developments will perform. What's clear is change comes quickly, and yes, it brings schools and jobs, but also unease.
Even Malaysia's new prime minister talks of being uncomfortable, fearing a loss of sovereignty. China is now the biggest foreign investor in Malaysia.
Chinese investors are making urban mega developments across Malaysia, and within Iskandar, Malaysia, there's Danga Bay, there's Princess Cove, and other kind of condo luxury compounds. This pace is breathtaking, and only China can build this fast, no one else. So China is a good partner in a sense. Malaysia wants to develop quickly, they need the investment money. And China's a good partner because no one can build faster than them. Hi. All construction sites in the Middle East and in Asia have worker camps because the workers are foreign. All the workers are from Bangladesh, Nepal, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, India, Pakistan. Excuse me, how can we go inside? I have something from my friend. Oh, it's good.
Moser has come to see a man she's just getting to know on this trip. His name is Erican. He's 52, an Indonesian, and has lived in the camp for 3 years, but he's sick, so he's finishing up his contract working as a cleaner here. Home, for now, is the shipping container he shares with 3 others.
They share everything. There's not any privacy for any of the people there. They don't want to be here. They want to be in their villages, but there's no work in their villages, and this is the only way they can make money. So they come away, and then oftentimes they can go back to their village and they can actually make an addition on their house that they need, or, fund their kids to go to be educated.
The advantage of speaking the language, obviously, is that Moser can get past the basics and the niceties. She knows the work is an opportunity for Erican, but the more they chat and the more she learns about his nagging illness and his yearning to be home, all of it just makes the downsides glare.
It's really tough. It's tough because we can't really do anything. We learn about it and that's it. It's a tough living situation. They're far from their family. They don't necessarily speak the language of all their neighbors, so it's lonely, I think.
Yes! Good! Welcome to Forest City. Down!
But new investors don't see how the place is built. They never do. They're swept away by this, the perennial promises of something better and smarter ahead. And some of the new cities may deliver on that one day. Hard to know, since many of them are only just underway.
Of the 100+ cities that have been announced, very few have actually broken ground. Very few have actually year-round populations. So it's sort of a lot of splash and fancy buildings and movement without actually becoming cities as we understand them.
As a local, I would say that we have no choice but live with the forest city from now on. Because we cannot afford, if the city is going to be a gold city, we have already paid the environmental cost and a lot of other costs as well. And if they are not going to succeed, I cannot imagine about it.
Do we think that the Earth's resources should be spent on empty condos? Are empty condos in cities, empty houses in cities good for communities? These are all kind of questions we have to ask ourselves as we confront this issue. At what point is there sort of a threshold where you cross and you're actually not gaining much benefit and you're losing a whole lot?
So as the cities of the future evolve, your own city need not be left behind. A Canadian company is hard at work helping established urban areas to basically smarten up. Here's a peek at the next story in our series. This is what you and I see at an intersection. Now, check out what the digital eyes of a smart city can see.
We give cities 24/7 information that we sample 10 times a second. Right now, when we think about traffic, we think about frustration, getting to work late, picking up our kids late. One of our goals is that people don't think about traffic, right?
But getting there will generate an awful lot of data, so who gets to own it? We'll have more on the future of cities in the days to come on The National.
And if you think that I'm still holding on to something, you should go and love yourself.
Justin Bieber is opening up on Instagram. The 25-year-old singer-songwriter says he's been struggling a lot. He writes, just feeling super disconnected and weird. I always bounce back, so I'm not worried. Just wanted to reach out and ask for you guys to pray for me. The post has received almost 5 million likes, and thousands have responded by leaving encouraging comments, some even opening up about their own struggles. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson now on how social media is changing the conversation around youth and mental health.
I definitely noticed the fact that he says, I always bounce back, I'm not worried.
Justin Bieber's candid post strikes the right note with these youth mental health advocates.
She's saying that this isn't like a hopeless situation, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. And that's really positive messaging there.
What do you mean?
Bieber is the latest in a number of high-profile young stars to open up about mental health on social media. Singer Selena Gomez and model and actress Cara Delevingne have too.
Oh, okay.
Saturday Night Live comedian Pete Davidson sparked an outpouring of concern for his well-being when he posted that he didn't want to be on this earth anymore. New York police were sent to check in on him. For many, social media can be seen as isolating, even a contributing factor to anxiety and depression.
A mental health organization. So
but for this group, it can also be an ally.
It does normalize mental health and makes us realize that we can look at these celebrities who we're seeing on our Instagram feeds, who we think have it all, but that they struggle with their mental health the same way that we would.
It would also be helpful to add.
Psychiatrist Mark Sr. agrees. He hasn't treated Bieber, but he researches youth suicide prevention. He points out celebrities should open up about their whole mental health journey, not just when they're in crisis.
I think where additional work could occur is if the celebrities might do more to focus on what to do when you have the diagnosis. What have they done in the past? How has it helped them be successful? Because invariably people do find ways of overcoming disorders like depression and anxiety and addictions.
What all the experts agree on is social media can help young people feel less alone, especially when they see their celebrity idols be so human. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there are a couple of places you can call for help. Kids Help Phone has counselors available 24/7 by text or by phone. You can also call Crisis Services Canada.
Next on The National, a heart-stopping moment caught on dash cam. How this tow truck driver's quick reflexes prevented what could have been a devastating encounter.
I was just driving, I got off the highway, and then I was picking up speed. It literally just passed me, and I had like a second to brake and swerve.
Okay, firstly, we have a serious spoiler alert about this moment. Everyone is okay. That is really important to know because from the pictures, you sure could think otherwise. It's a Toronto highway and a terrifying encounter, and it all ended well because of the quick reflexes of a tow truck driver. You see, Bill Chan was driving near Buttonville Airport on the way to lunch with his family. His dash cam was rolling, good thing, because you might not believe it otherwise. What happened and then what happened next is our moment.
I was just driving, I got off the highway, and then I was picking up speed, and then the plane just came right in front of me. It literally just passed me, and I had like a second to brake and swerve. I stopped the truck, I put on my lights, I got out, I ran to the plane to see if they're okay. I think it was a student pilot. The instructor came out, he was okay. They got out of the plane right away. They were in shock, obviously, and we called the police, and the paramedics came and attended to them. Just debris everywhere. The plane is on the other side of the road, and there's some parts of the plane that was on the road as well. I went home, I hugged my son, and that was it.
Okay, well, he's certainly calmer than I would have been. Again, everyone is okay. Important to know this. Apparently, the Transportation Safety Board refers to this as a runway excursion, which means it overshot the runway. But the male pilot and the single female passenger are just fine. The plane is not so good, but they're fine.
Everybody's fine. It looks like everybody responded perfectly. So let me take this in an entirely different direction. And no, it's nothing to worry about. But in praise of the dash cam, you don't have a dash cam, right?
No, I don't.
Now I'm like a lazy tech-interested guy, which means I wish I had one, but I haven't got around to putting one in my car. But just think of whether it's meteorites or planes that just miss by that much, all the incredible moments we've managed to see and marvel at because of the dash cam. That is The National for March 13th. Good night.
Good night.